Some activewear products can create a lot more risk for a brand's first launch than someone would like to admit. It's not that these specific products that I'm going to be outlining are bad products. It's that they don't make sense for a first launch for the majority of brands. And the specific reason why that is because a first launch should do one of, or if not all of, three things. Number one, it should prove to the customer the quality of the brand and what the brand has to offer. Two, it should allow the brand to clearly see the design, sampling, development, and production cycle to understand how long things should take in a realistic sense. And then three, it should accurately reflect customer taste, sizing requirements through the product. The challenge with some of these products is that they are far too complex to do, especially for a startup brand with minimal to no actual help. Two, the sizing information required and the sizing feedback that is given may not be reflective of true consumer trends, especially with more high impact, highly supported products like some of the products we're going to be describing. So what are these products? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be discussing in today's episode. My name is Shadi. I'm the co-founder and the creative director of Fittdesign. And over the last 10 years, we've literally helped thousands of brands develop products and bring their ideas to market. So I've learned a thing or two about what are the products that present the biggest challenges for startup brands to create. And ultimately, when you go through those challenges and you come out the other side, what are the products that are going to have the highest ROI per amount of time, effort, investment, and just actual sheer capability put into the brand. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. Number one is going to be a highly technical outerwear in general. These can be things like a soft shell jacket. It can be things like a windbreaker. It can be a running jacket. It can be a ski suit. These are all products that they look phenomenal when you see a marketing campaign. They really create a street cred for the brand that is difficult to replicate. The challenge about including highly technical outerwear for a first collection for a first-time brand is, number one, these are expensive products. There's a high degree of investment that you have to put into these products to be able to bring them out to market in any capacity, in any specific quality. Two, there's a lot of details that go into developing a highly technical piece of outerwear, like the outer shell, the inner shell, the lining if you have anything, the insulation, that really you do need the help of an expert, or else you're just going to be shooting in the dark, and you need the help of an expert that's done technical outerwear before. Because any expert or any designer is not going to be able to understand the nuances of sizing for technical outerwear, what scenarios that they're going to be used in, what mobility is required, what type of zippers, what type of trims, what type of aglets, what type of eyelets are required to be able to allow the core consumer that would be interested in technical outerwear to give them a product that's worth having. Because if you consider the type of customer that's going to be paying $100, $150, $200 for a zip-up jacket, this is usually a very considered purchase. This is not an impulse purchase that you're purchasing on a whim. You're looking at this product for a long time. You want to understand the ins and outs of the product, and chances are you're comparing different brands. Now, with technical outerwear, there is a time and place for it once you've established yourself and if it makes sense for your core consumer. But I would consider, unless you're a hiking brand, unless you are some sort of outdoors brand, for a first launch, definitely avoid the technical outerwear. Number two is high impact, custom molded sports bras. Although high impact sports bras are a given and they're a necessary part of any activewear wardrobe, a high impact custom molded sports bra is a very difficult undertaking, especially for a first time activewear brand that's just getting into it. Why is this? Number one is that the technology required to provide adequate compression, support, and fit for a bra is very varied. There's a wide variety of different ways to get the different aspects of bra support out on the table. Number one, are we fitting the bra and the breast shape correctly? Are we providing enough coverage? Are we offering support from the sides, from the middle, up, down? What does the bra pad look like? Are we using a custom molded bra pad shape, or are we going with something that's off the shelf? If we're going with off the shelf, where are we sourcing these different off the shelf bra pads to be able to account for the different and the many different bust sizes that exist on the market? So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. And it's not only about support in the bust, it's about support in the underbust, support in the back. So although with the bra, there's a lot of problems to solve, and when you do solve them, you can really provide a tremendous amount of value to customers. I just think as a first step, there are safer alternatives to bras that will make it much easier for a starter brand to get their feet wet in the space and still be able to offer great quality products and great quality bras that people actually want to wear. But if you're going for this very technical bra fit and feel, it is an undertaking that I would definitely think twice about, especially as a first-time brand. Number 3 is seamless leggings with highly engineered knit and compression zones. So seamless is a great product to get into, and a lot of first-time activewear brands, they'll look at the brands like Define, Athlete, Gymshark, and they really are aspiring to be at that same level. The challenge with looking at a brand that's been in the market for 5-10 years, that's doing millions, if not tens of millions of dollars in sales, and immediately trying to replicate that product is not understanding the effort, the investment that it took to get there. This isn't to say that having a seamless legging is a far dream for a first-time brand. It's just a specific legging with highly engineered knit zones, meaning you're trying to get that invisible glute crunch, fine, but you're also going to get that underbutt lift support, and you're going to get that targeted compression in the waist, and you also want things to be done on the front for ventilation. You need to definitely be working with a professional to be able to provide and extract that value, because with seamless knitting, it's not just about understanding what you want, it's about understanding how to be able to get that in the finished product. And for a lot of technical engineers that work in the factories, number one is they simply cannot go off of an image that they see unless they have that physical product there, or they have a proper tech pack that has core technical drawings with the knit structure, how the knit works, the gauge structure of the yarns that are being used, the specific yarn that's being used. It's very difficult for them to replicate it right off the bat. So in our practice, what we see is when it comes to seamless, it's not simply just about the visual look. It's about how does that visual look translate into the actual language that the machines that knit these garments on a tube need to understand in order to produce the finished garment. And if you're going to rely on a factory to do this, believe me, you're going to be in a world of hurt, going through sample after sample, not quite understanding what it is that you want, or you know what you want, but not understanding clearly how to get what they're giving you over the line to the point that it needs to be to actually give you the effect that you want. That's why seamless knitwear, specifically leggings with a lot of engineered knits and compression zones, are a very difficult product for a first-time brand to get into. Number 4 is one-piece activewear. So these are going to be things like bodysuits, unitards, leotards, any sort of garment that has the top and the bottom connected with it. And the challenge with bodysuits comes down to 3 main things. Number 1 is sizing. Bodysuits are very difficult to size because if you look at the majority of customers, they really differ between the dimensions between their shoulder and the crotch area. Where the leggings, you have a lot of room for give and take because you don't have anything that's anchoring the legging at the top and the bottom. You simply have the crotch area. For something like a bra, you just have the anchor at the top. With a unitard, you need to really get the top and the bottom anchor points perfect to make sure. And it's very difficult that any standard leotard or one piece is going to fit all forms of people unless you have some sort of adjustable straps. So this creates a hesitation with the customer in terms of wanting to purchase the product because they are not quite sure that the sizing is going to be what they want. And they have learned this firsthand. 2, the type of customer that would want to buy a one piece, it's a very specific and a very unique type of customer. And that kind of customer may not be the general purpose activewear customer. So if you tend to look at a lot of the brands that do one-piece leotards or these one-piece bodysuits, they tend to offer a very specific type of aesthetic that makes sense for them to offer that customer. The last thing comes down to the development of a product like this. You have to understand, not only is it difficult to fit, but it's also difficult to engineer because a one piece needs to do 2 things. It needs to support up and needs to support down. If you have adequate support in the upper region, but in the lower region, the design doesn't work, it doesn't flow correctly, then you're essentially doubling your decision making to be able to solve 2 problems for the price of 1, or you need to solve 1 problem for the price of 2 essentially, where you need to actually solve the problem for the top and the bottom to make sure that they both work. Because if there's a mismatch between you getting fit right on the bust area but getting the fit wrong on the thigh area, it's still a product that no one is going to want to buy. So this is why it's a more expensive product, you're adding more fabric, it's a more complex construction. For all of those reasons, I definitely recommend staying away from one-piece activewear products as a first step. Number 5, and last but not least, is products that are extremely unique and require way too much customer education. And I typically love these products, but they do come at a cost. If you have a variety of different core products in your activewear wardrobe or your activewear collection, and one of those products is something that's highly mechanized or it requires a lot of customer education, number one, it's going to be a very difficult product to engineer. You're going to have a more involved actual development cost, both on design, sampling, and production. But when you do get to the point where you have that product, it's succeeded, and it's ready to launch the market, you need to align your content to be able to educate to the customer. You need to align your marketing, you need to align your visuals, you need to align your website, your packaging. All of it should be working as a single unit to be able to execute and to educate the customer. Because the whole reason that you created this product is that there's a problem that you're solving that is not as straightforward as simply put it on and it works. And if a customer doesn't know why they're buying that product or what problem it's trying to solve, then they won't buy it. So you need to not only educate the customer on how to use the product, but you may also need to make the customer become problem aware, meaning that they may scroll past your ad, and if what you're presenting doesn't touch them, they don't understand why this is a problem that they're facing, they're not going to have attention to it, or they're not going to give it the necessary attention. So you need to educate the customer on the problem, but also that they have the problem, and then they need to get them from being in a state of not understanding how the product works to then seeing how the product will work to solve their issue. So your issue goes beyond just developing a great product. It goes into content, marketing, after sales. Yes, for all of the 5 items I mentioned to you, you can succeed with them as an activewear brand, even if it's your first time. And actually, in some scenarios, it may be contrary to say that I do recommend some of these products if you know what you're doing. We've worked with a ton of activewear brands where we create these hero pieces that require a tremendous amount of education. But if you have the necessary support, if you know what you're doing, you have a roadmap to create these products, it can be tremendous leverage against the competition. I'm just saying, for the average customer or for the average person that's trying to start an activewear brand, these are more difficult. So if you're willing and you're ready for the task, then the opportunity is there. But if you want something that is going to be an easier entry point, then these are the products that I would avoid. But if easy is not the goal, then consider any of them. Who am I to tell you what to do or what not to do? And if you guys want to learn how to develop some of your products, whether they're complex as the items that we've listed here, we've developed each and every single one of these for first-time founders that have succeeded tremendously in the market, or you want to build a core activewear staple set and you want to expand on products in a way where you have that simplicity of product, but you want to refine the fit, you want excellent fabric, great durability, then we can also help you with that. You can check the link in the description to apply to work with us one-on-one, and literally within 5 minutes, you'll get a personalized production roadmap from a real human to help you take the idea and turn it into physical reality in under 30 days. And we can also immediately hop on a call with you to see how we can help you and if it would be a good fit to work together. And guys, I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fittdesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.